Good evening, everybody. Welcome along to another edition of SportsView on LearnMedia.tv. Press the red button on the right-hand side to subscribe to our channel. Very much appreciated. Good evening, Joe, and good evening, Derwynne.
Evening, Pat. Evening, Derwynne.
Hey, Joe.
We usually look at the Premiership round-up across channel, and we'll have if we get to it, we'll have a look at rugby, golf, Formula One, tennis, and American football. We'll bring you up to date with some of it. We generally touch on it if we get a chance. But over the weekend in the Premiership, there was a win for Newcastle, Bournemouth, Liverpool, Forest, Southampton, Spurs, and Man U drew 1-1 with Chelsea, which saw the match. And in the Championship, Leeds and Sheffield United, Coventry, and Bristol City all win. And of course, Manchester United got their manager, Ruben Amorim. Okay, guys, anyone watching this now, in case you're Ruben Amorim is his name, and he's a young manager and pretty successful from what I can see anyway. And there's been an awful lot of managers have been tried in Man United, and I'd say ones with better reputations than he had coming, and they didn't succeed. I wonder, is there more wrong with that club than the players on the pitch? Joe, what do you think?
Well, I think the problem is that United had a set way of playing when Sir Alex Ferguson was there, right? And to a very similar degree, it was the same with Sir Matt Busby. They played the United way, and players that came in adjusted to their system. And coaches came in knew that was the way they had to play. The problem with United, with every manager that they've had since, has wanted to have their own way of playing, and they're bringing in players suited to playing that particular way. Now, the problem that we have again here, and the thing I'll say is that Manchester City, if they got Ruben Amorim, who they were again
Courting,
replace Guardiola if he decided to go. If they had got him, Manchester City would not have changed their way of playing. The coach would have had to come in and adjust to the style of play that the club wants to play. Right? That is the way it is. Arsenal have a way of playing. Liverpool had a way of playing under Klopp, but now Arne Slot's come in and he's changed that a little bit.
Yes, he has tweaked it a bit, yeah.
Similar style of play, where United are bringing in Amorim, and I don't know what the agreement is, but if he's going to come in and try and play three at the back with the Manchester United team, play 3-4-3, it will not work. They do not have the players to start off with to suit that style of play. They don't have quick enough defenders to play that, mobile enough defenders to play that, I don't think. And so what's going to happen is that we're going to go and get on the Ferris wheel again, and we're going to start bringing in players, and there's going to be other guys that are going to be left there that they can't offload. So at some point, you have to come to a determination of what is our style of play, what is our identity here. And United don't seem, I mean, this particular last two games have looked more like the United of old than at any point that I can recall after Sir Alex Ferguson's left. They were all out attack. And they were pushing guys forward, and they were saying, "We're going to score more goals than you." And I just wonder if this is just another way of going about this that is going to put them in the same situation they were in before. Yeah.
What do you think, Derwynne?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Pat. I mean, there's some stats given out today on BBC about United. So they've got it's the lowest scoring start to a season since 1974 when they went down, when they got relegated.
Yeah.
And they've scored 8 goals
in 10 matches.
In the Premier League, yeah.
Yeah.
And the stats, what the guys were talking about on 5 Live was just the sheer fact that United, they've got their front. I don't want to say front 4 players, but I don't think Fernandes is a front player as such. But if you said Garnacho, Rashford, and Haaland, or whoever his name is, they've scored 1 goal each. And if that's, like they were saying, if that's the strike force and they've scored 1 goal each, you look at the top end of the league. I mean, I don't know what Erling Haaland's on right now, but he's probably in double figures already, isn't he?
I think so.
So, what they were trying to
say. He didn't score in the last 2 games, Haaland.
Under Hag, they've just not been able to score goals because of the way Ten Hag seems to want to have tactics and play.
Yeah.
Xerxes, or the new kid, Xerxes, or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just totally out of his depth. Like shouldn't be there.
The problem with Xerxes though is that that, and this is United to a T. It seems to me. Xerxes considers himself a number 10. He is not an out-and-out centre forward, and they're playing him as centre forward. And to go back to Pat, what you were saying, and Derwynne, you're saying, the United were very defensive-minded, possession-minded. So if you're going to be like that and not have quality players in the front, take chances when you get them, then and you're not able to consistently put teams under pressure like Arsenal do, like Man City do. Even Man City, having lost at the weekend, were still at the end of it trying to pull a result out of the fire. The same thing with Arsenal at the end of it. They were still pressing and pressing and pressing to get the equaliser, and that's their style of play. Whereas United sometimes don't attack for over half the game. They're willing to maintain possession and then not go for it. And it's very hard to blame a strike force if the team is not giving them opportunities to score.
Exactly, and I think Van Nistelrooy, as you said, the last 2 matches, I know they played Leicester City midweek and then they played Chelsea yesterday, and Van Nistelrooy, being a striker, obviously, he'd have that mindset, of getting the ball up to the lads who are paid to score the goals. But anyway, I think it's a very, very challenging job for. I hope he speaks good English. I didn't hear him being interviewed,
No, he does. He speaks really good English.
Well, he'll want to hit the ground running anyway. We wish him the very best. But to me, the team I loved over the weekend, and I loved their style of play. I didn't take full notice of it until I saw the match. Was Nottingham Forest, and I think they thoroughly deserve their place at the moment. I know it's only after 10 games, but they played some fantastic football for their 3-0 win over the weekend against West Ham, and I thought they were excellent. And it's great to see an old ground, with all due respect to Nottingham Forest, an old football ground, well represented up in the top 4 today. It's very, very, very good reading. I think they're in 3rd place. So they're 3rd place, as I know. Yeah,
they're 3rd. You've got.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, Pat. I mean, you've got lots of teams up there that are doing really well, but they're scoring goals.
They have strikers who can score.
Yeah, I mean, you know, to me, I thought this weekend was fantastic for the Premier League because having Arsenal lose and having City lose just goes to show that there's a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, isn't it?
And that was a cracking goal for Newcastle. I mean, I know GC is a beautiful, beautiful move, and a pinpoint cross into the box, and bang, in between two defenders, and bang, a brilliant goal, you know.
I have found it really interesting listening to Guardiola moaning about that his players he's got all these injuries.
Yeah, I don't have much time for him anyway.
He's still rolling out full internationals, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's not throwing 16, 17-year-old kids out there, isn't he?
Yeah. No. It's just.
I mean, the reality is that City were looking not to lose that game by 4 or 5.
Yeah.
The chances that Bournemouth made.
Bournemouth played very well.
What I love, I've watched Bournemouth now for a few weeks, and their coach is a disciple of Marcelo Bielsa. Well, getting the ball forward on the ground as quickly as possible and getting behind the opposition, making runs behind them and what have you. And that absolutely tore Arsenal apart, and it tore Man City apart over the weekend. And this guy really seems to have his act together, knows what he wants, knows how he wants to play.
Yeah, and the manager of Forest is the same.
Yes. But there's an example. Nuno was at Wolves, did a great job at Wolves with that.
Did a fabulous job.
Gets the Spurs job and doesn't do so well there. And then everybody and his brother comes on the bandwagon that he's a terrible coach. He doesn't do this, he doesn't do that. Well, is this because of the club or is it because of the coach? Again, Spurs have never had any idea of they think they're this great football club that they're, we can go out, do this, do that, and the other. They haven't won an argument for 30 years.
They haven't won a trophy for a long time, as far as I know, you know.
And Wandy Ramos was the last guy to win the League Cup for him, way back in when was that? So they have this grandiose idea about being what they are to football, and really they haven't done anything.
No.
A few lads, just to let you know, a few of my friends, a few lads around that look at this regularly, this podcast, are absolutely enthralled with some of the old clips that we showed, down the last few weeks. The conditions of the football pitches. and Joe, you know what I'm talking about, because you're that man that refused to wear the Wellingtons, and you're going to play soccer.
Yeah. You knew it was a bad day when you were putting studs in the Wellington boots.
Yeah. Well, for all the lads, the lads that bought me the coffee as well, very much appreciated, and we were reminiscing about things. But we have a little clip for them here with two of the, I suppose, the greats at the time, Derby County and Stoke City.
Proper conditions for football here in Derby as Davis emerges from the mud onto the sand and then the grass like an evolving tetrapod. Who's this guy with a pristine shirt? Get involved. Out comes Shelton and he's nowhere near it. Rioch. Oh, look at Pierre Shelton flapping around. I've seen better mud flaps on my new Raleigh chopper. That's Gable. Here comes Stoke with Hudson to Jeff Hurst. Don't go down the middle, you numpty. Someone clar him. The cheat that he is. Salmon. A big fish in a big pond. Hudson. Delicious salmon. I get up in the sky to Jimmy Greenhalgh. That's football. When in doubt, ping it to the back peg and scalp it. Well, he deserved that. He's covered every blade of grass on the pitch today. All 7 of them.
the commentary on Derby County and Stoke City. Was it Stoke City?
Yeah, it was Stoke.
And
Yeah.
Jimmy Greenhoff, huh?
Yeah.
That takes you back a bit, Joe.
Of
That
course.
kid,
And Alan Hudson playing for
yeah,
Stoke.
yeah.
Yeah,
My goodness me, that
Yeah.
was back in the 80s, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was back in the years. I've heard it.
Alan
But
Hinton, left wing for Derby, crossing the ball there for them. But I mean, that was so typical of the pitches. Once October came around, yeah.
I
Once
mean, we
they
were.
that was
Uh,
yeah.
yeah. The League of Ireland a couple of years ago changed over to summer soccer. I know we don't get much of a summer in Ireland, but what I say, the driest weather where it only rains occasionally, not all the time.
I was gonna say,
But,
slightly less wet.
slightly less, but it has enhanced the League of Ireland. Attendances are at a record high for this league that finished over the weekend, and in the League of Ireland, the last two matches of any consequence were showed live on both channels in Ireland Friday night. That is, Shelbourne were away to Derry City in the Bandywell, and Shamrock Rovers are playing at home against Waterford United, and they were the only two teams that could win the league, either Shamrock Rovers or Shelbourne. Shelbourne won the game 1-0, and Shamrock Rovers won their game 2-1. So Shelbourne are the league champions, the first time since 1988, and with Damien Duff as their leader and their inspiration as well. You know, he wears his hat. He should, if you get a few tips on YouTube with Shelbourne, he's definitely a coach that wears his hat on his sleeve on the line, you know. And he's been sent off a few times, but I mean that's just fussy refs. But he's a passionate man, and he's revitalised the whole club so much so that there's a huge development going on there, you know. And there's a lot of excitement now about the League of Ireland, and hopefully it can only be good for soccer. But Damien Duff was interviewed, just a very small interview, after the night, Friday night, and I watched both matches on split screen, and I must say that they were just fantastic.
Dark times. So I'm so happy for them. But the biggest, I guess, message there is tonight, it's not for my players, they deserve it, the fans, Stewie, people around the club deserve it, but it's for kids all around Ireland, all around the world, because we've always been told since they got here 3 years ago, you're not good enough, you'll never win at them, you're this, you're that. If you put your mind to anything, and you work hard and you dedicate your life to it, you can do anything you want, and that's what my players have done.
Yeah, you certainly have, and you certainly have to be applauded. You wanted to.
That was Damien Duff there, and Damien Duff had initially a short contract with Shelbourne, and there was a huge amount of persuasion of him to stay on, and so much so that the investors and everybody associated with Shelbourne came to meet him, listened to what he wanted, listened to what he wanted for the club, you know, and they've delivered now their league champions, so they'll be in the European Cup this year. But I mean, I think it's very good, very good. It goes to show, I mean, if you do persevere and work hard, he had a mix of experience and very young players in the team as well, you know, and he did very well. So if you anything boring in these winter nights, go on YouTube and Google Shelbourne FC, and you'll get some highlights of a fantastic year that they had, you know. They had a blip there, but well done to Damien and all the gang there on the. So after the Premiership over the weekend, Joe, Liverpool are top of the pile with 25 points, Man City are 23, not Forest at 19, and then Chelsea, Arsenal, and Villa all on 18 points. So it is pretty tight at the top, you know. And as we said, Ruben Amorim is the new manager, and he'll be arriving next weekend to Manchester to take up his post. And over the weekend as well, we had the championship where Sunderland remained top. Sunderland remained top of the championship with 29 points. Leeds United 26, and Sheffield United 25, Burnley 23, Watford 22, West Brom 21, and Blackburn 19. And there's a couple more, there's 3 more clubs below the 80 points, so it's very tight. You know, there's 11 points covering the first 11 places in the championship, so that's a humdinger of a championship, and it's hotting up nicely, you know. So it's nice to see Sunderland coming up, or maybe Blackburn. I don't. Didn't Blackburn win this premiership, new premiership in 1995, the first year or second year?
Yeah. Kenny Dalglish, the manager.
Wasn't what's his name with him? Alan Shearer.
Shearer and
Who else was
he's
I must look that up now, but
right now.
there was great excitement when they won it anyway, you know.
The guy that's the new director at one of the directors of football at Man United, is it Ripley? Is that his name? And oh God, what was it? The fellow that came from Norwich, the side from Norwich, Chris Sutton was up front.
Chris Sutton, yeah.
Sutton was up front with Shearer, with Wilcox, Jason Wilcox. That's who it was.
Jason Wilcox, yeah, I remember him. Didn't he go to Chelsea after this?
Tim Sherwood.
Tim Sherwood.
Batty was in midfield.
Yeah.
Who was was it Hendry was at the back for him?
We're talking about Blackburn Rovers, when they won the Premiership in 1995. Huh?
Graham Lassou was at left back. The guy.
Graham Lassou, yeah, a nice footballer, I like him.
United, the blonde-haired right back that was there for a while. Do you remember him, Derwynne? They signed him from Blackburn eventually.
Wasn't the commentator, was it?
Flowers was the goalkeeper.
Flowers?
Yeah, I think he might have been the goalkeeper. Trying to think who the centre half was for that team.
Colin Hendry, was it?
Yeah, Colin Hendry. Tony Gale was on that team.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a pretty
solid,
a pretty decent squad.
They had that time, and there was great excitement. And of course, your own crowd, Leicester City won it with that was such a fantastic year for Leicester City that year, and they were heading the Premiership for ages without much fanfare in the media generally about them.
Right.
But it's only towards the end of the league the realization began to hit the sports writers and commentators that there's a good chance that Leicester could win the league. You know?
Yeah.
And what's his name was the manager?
Claudio
Ranieri. Yeah.
No, you kind of looked at that, and I actually thought the day I thought they had a real chance of doing it was when they played City at City, and I think they beat them 2-0, and Robert Hood scored. Not sure if he didn't score both goals. They might have even beaten them 4-2, but I remember it, and I'm going, you know what, this really could be for real for us.
Yeah.
But then, you also have to understand, and I said this earlier, and my brother and my cousins won't thank me for it, but who were their competition that year? Spurs.
True now, just to remind me. Yeah.
Spurs threw a 2-goal lead at Stamford Bridge.
They did?
They were 2-0 up at half-time, and they threw it away, and what's his name, had the Belgian that went to Real Madrid, had an absolutely brilliant second half. And the only thing that was said in the dressing room at halftime when they were 2-0 down, and you can put whatever expletive in there you feel like doing, but Spurs are not expletive winning the league at Stamford Bridge.
Well, that's true. That's true.
And that's the motivation for him to go out in the second half. And
now,
what's his name was absolutely brilliant in the second half. Oh God, what's his name? Belgian guy that went to Real Madrid.
For Leicester?
No, he didn't have a very good time there. He actually he was a bit of a bust there. I can see his face now in front of me, but yeah. So I mean, everything aligned perfectly. You know, City and Liverpool had kind of dropped the ball at that stage a little bit, and you know, Leicester had come up with a way of playing that people hadn't really cottoned on to, and results started going their way. You know, they got.
Ranieri was a good manager.
Yes, he was. Yeah. He took over because the year before they just avoided relegation.
That's true, but Ranieri did very well at most clubs he was at, you know.
Yes, he did.
And he did.
Yes,
and people forget that, you know. He was successful, you could say. He was just a successful manager.
You know, and he was the first one to bring in the system of having 2 players for every position.
Yeah.
That's what he wanted at Chelsea, and that's what he got, and that's where he got the nickname, the Tinkerman.
Yeah.
Because he would change the lineups around, but it was to keep players fresh. So now everybody is doing it.
They are. You see, there's one Premiership match on tonight. It's Brentford and Fulham. Brentford are playing at Fulham, and Brentford are just gone into the league 1-0. For people who are interested in that, but that's the last Premiership match of the weekend. They seem to count Monday as the weekend now as well, but however, and Friday. But anyway, we're getting 4-day weekends with the Premiership. But yeah, I mean that's the soccer over the weekend. I think Derwynne signal has broken down, but he might be back later on. The SportsView program here on their media.tv. Tell all your friends about us and press the red button on the right hand side to subscribe to our channel. Over the weekend, we had Atletico Madrid over in Spain, 1-2-0 over Las Palmas. And Barcelona had a 3-1 win over Espanyol. And Real Madrid's match was postponed because they were due to play Valencia. And we wish all the people well in Valencia. They had a horrific time with the flooding, and there's a couple of hundred people dead. And I suppose there are more important things in football sometimes, but that's the way it goes. Barcelona are top of the league there with 33 points, Real Madrid on 24, a game less, Atletico Madrid on 23, and Villarreal on 21. That's in Spain. And Bayern Munich won 3-0 in Germany over the weekend with our friend Harry scoring 2 of 3 goals. Harry Kane. They beat Union Berlin 3-0. Feyenoord beat AZ Alkmaar 3-2 with our own Troy Parrott, even though he was on the losing side, scoring one of the goals for AZ Alkmaar. So he's doing very well over there in the Netherlands. As we said, Shelbourne came out on top, and we'll quickly just move to rugby. And All Blacks 15. I suppose you call it development squad. We're playing Munster in a friendly over the weekend. A sold out friendly, I may add. Not a seat to be got. We were in the gym. We used the gym. I remember the gym in the Carlton Hotel in there in Limerick. And it's the big one you see in photographs rising up high in the sky as you go over the bridge. But we were in the jacuzzi talking to a few of us, talking to another couple over there. They were up from Waterford on Friday. They were up for the match on Saturday, and we were chatting to them when they had 2 kids. But they were saying they follow Munster everywhere, and they were optimistic. Munster were just 24-22 to the All Blacks developments for the split at the end. But as we said, to the friendly match. But I suppose all the troubles that Munster are having recently on the field, they seem to play. Peter O'Mahony played first half for him. He's back from a hamstring injury. But I don't think Peter O'Mahony was toying with the idea of retiring last year. But I think he's playing on for another year. Peter O'Mahony. He's still a good player, an effective player, but he played after match. And I hope he's okay. But I didn't see the match because it was only streamed on live. It was a friendly match. So I didn't see the match, I only read about it. But 24-22. The All Blacks themselves were playing an international against England on Saturday. and they beat England in a very tight game. You know, England had a chance to win the match with a drop goal by Ford, but it went to the wrong side of the post. You know, but they lost. England was scoring that much down here. 24-22, and Scotland beat Fiji in a friendly 57-17. And our friend Ronan O'Gara's team is back on track again after his defeat last weekend with La Rochelle over in the top 14. They won 35-18, and they sit now in, I think what they sit, Bordeaux topping that at 29 points, Toulouse 29, and La Rochelle 27. And that's the top 3 and top 14. We'll be over next week. We're doing the program from France, Joe. We'll be over in France next week, a few of us. And we'll be on Paris and Montpellier, and just for blackguarding. And we might take in rugby match if there's one on somewhere, you know. But there we go. We'll see what's going to happen over there. There's rugby there. And actually, that's funny. The All Blacks beat England 24-22. And the development squad beat Munster 24-22. Yeah, just notice that's going on, you know. And in golf, we had the wonderful Charlie Hull. Just all the women took the stage this weekend. Charlie Hull won the Aramco Series over there in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia with 65, 67, and 66 minus 18. Young Lauren Walsh, the young Irish golfer, was playing in that. She finished at -4, but it's all experience for her. She's a lovely golfer, and we'll probably hear more of her later on, you know, but she's doing very well. And she got an invitation to that. In the Japan Classic, there was 2 Japanese golfers in the playoff. Ryo Takeda won it, and they had a 5-hole playoff, and she won that -15, 69, 65, and 67 over the weekend as well, you know. Our friend, we had the Brazilian Grand Prix as well in Formula One. I must say it's a credit to Verstappen. He started the race in 16th to 17th place. Max Verstappen. It was pouring rain for nearly the whole race anyway, so all the cars were fairly close to each other. But that doesn't take away from his skill to go from 16th, 17th to winning the thing. He won the race anyway, and Esteban Ocon was second. Pierre Gasly was third, and Russell was only fourth, would be his nearest challenger for the title. And Leclerc was fifth, and Norris was Lando Norris, who was his nearest him in points, could only finish sixth. So Verstappen has 393 points, and Lando Norris has 331. So it's looking like Verstappen again for the title, you know. But he proved his mettle in the rain in Sao Paulo, which was the race. He did very well. I saw a lot of the race actually, you know. It was delayed as well, and we had American football season, George. Is it a winter game?
Oh yeah.
It's a
Very
winter
much.
game.
Yeah.
Over the weekend, Atlanta beat Dallas in American football 23-21. Baltimore beat the Broncos 41-10. The Bills beat Dolphins 30-27. And Carolina beat New Orleans 23-22. And Washington beat... they have to change their name. They're not the Washington Redskins anymore.
No, they're the...
Just Washington?
No, what did it change? They're the Commanders.
The Washington Commanders.
Yeah.
Or the Commanders.
Yeah.
They beat New York Giants in 27-22, and Green Bay but Green Bay lost to the Detroit 14-24. I didn't look at the table, but it's early days in that competition yet. Anyway, you know. And
yeah. But the divisions are beginning to sort
shape up. Yeah. There's four. Is it four divisions? Is it four?
Well, there's 4 divisions on either. Well, you have the American League, and you have the National League.
Yeah.
Right. So, and you have 4 divisions in either in either one.
So you have 8 groups
Yeah,
in
yeah,
total, and
yeah.
the top 2, I presume, of each group will
Well,
they cross over?
they cross over, but they don't play everybody twice.
Yeah,
They will
AFL and NFL and AFL.
in their own division. So you have the Western Division, you have the Central Division, and you have the Eastern Division.
Right.
And in their own divisions, they'll all play each other twice. And
Yeah.
then go outside and they'll play, I want to say 4 games on the East Coast, kind of 4 games on the West Coast.
Right.
I'm not sure exactly how it works from that standpoint. But to get to 16 games in the finish, that's the amount of games I think they play in the regular season. So then you have the divisional champions move on, and then you have wild cards. And wild cards are just your record against other teams and what have you. So, you know, there could be a division that is a very much a weaker division that would get one team into the playoffs.
Yeah.
But there'd be stronger teams in other divisions. You know.
And would American football is it the most supported sport in America financially? Would you say?
That's really a good question. I think. Well, the thing is, it's very difficult to decide which is, you know, and I really haven't seen a study done on it. But at this time of the year, you know, Sunday, Monday, and Thursday belong to the NFL. Essentially, you have all the games are played on Sunday. Then you have Monday Night Football, and then you have Thursday Night Football. So they have that. But having said that, each team only plays 16 games, whereas baseball plays 120 odd games or something like that. So, so the attendance for a home game for Seattle would be, you know, probably 67,000 people up in Seattle. And then some of the other stadiums might be a little bit bigger that would hold more. So, but they only play 8 home games. You know, whereas the baseball teams play 60 home games. You know, then you have.
And Joe, how long would a typical baseball game last?
Typical baseball game could last anywhere for up to 4 or 5 hours, probably.
My goodness.
And then if it goes to extra innings, because there's no ties in baseball.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
Oh, so they could be still playing somewhere at midnight, depending on what time the game started. People falling asleep in their chairs. So
there'd be a sing song up in the back.
Oh yeah. So it's very difficult. Then you have basketball.
Yeah.
Basketball plays. I want to
say that's very well supported financially as well.
Oh yeah. All the sports are well supported financially because they have the TV deals. Yeah.
So you'd say American football would probably be the number one, would it, or baseball?
That's a really good question because you have. I mean, you have a lot. I've never really looked into how many basketball teams there are, but basketball teams would have crowds of 20 odd, 30 odd thousand, depending on the size of your arena.
Yeah.
Every night, you know, a couple of nights a week.
Basketball doesn't need the weather. It can be played all year round.
Yeah, so but it's really a winter sport, and then in towards the end of it. You get a little bit in the springtime, getting towards May and what have you. They finish up, I think, is when they're.
Well, I can't get my head around that paying a player $150 million to play basketball. I can't get my head around that.
Yeah.
I mean, there must be guaranteed income from the franchise and from television rights and advertising before they pay out that kind of money,
Oh yeah, and I mean, you have to understand, that there's.
Of course, on the other hand, sorry for putting across you have billionaires who are investing in clubs anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Steve Ballmer, who was the CEO for Microsoft for the longest time, owns the LA Clippers. I mean, he's got more money than you could. Mark Cuban owns the Dallas Mavericks, and he's a multi-billionaire. So all of these guys are very, very. The owners are all very wealthy people, and then they all. Then they have partners in it. They have people that come in and become a part of it, and they invest money in it because they get to be seen with the guys. Really, in the great scheme of things, probably the poor relation in the whole sports thing is ice hockey.
Right. And that was top of the pile for a long time, or near enough to anyway, ice hockey.
It was very, very popular there for and then eventually, back in the I suppose 30s, 40s, 50s, before the NFL really became the NFL.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, you should really read a book about a guy whose name is Art Donovan, and he played for Baltimore back in the day, and he talked about they would play their games on stadiums the day after a circus had been in town.
Yeah.
And there'd be animal dung from the animals on the field. And offensive linemen cannot, or one of the sets of linemen can't move. So they'd be picking up animal dung and throwing it at the opposition across the line.
I remember when our national radio and television just covered the Stanley Cup, for instance.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The Stanley Cup was when I was growing up, but we don't hear of it at all now. Well, we do, but you know what I mean. It's not as prominent.
Not as big. It's not as big as it. I mean, it's still huge in America and Canada.
Of course. Canada is probably the number one game in Canada is ice hockey.
Oh yeah, by far, yeah. So but guys in hockey are making a good amount of money as well.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of Russian players in ice hockey in Canada.
A lot of
Czech players.
Yeah, you got Czechoslovakia. You've got Scandinavian players.
Yeah, Norway, Sweden.
Finnish players. Yeah.
Finland. Yeah. Wayne Gretzky, I remember. Wayne Gretzky.
Wayne Gretzky was.
He was D-man. He was D-man.
Yes, he was, and the owner of the it'll come to me. Calgary were their big rivals. Edmonton. So he was with Edmonton.
Yeah.
They sold him to LA, and the owner of the Edmonton team, the Edmonton Oilers, could not show his face in public for fear of being attacked.
Go away.
Oh, Wayne Gretzky was a god up there.
Yeah.
In Edmonton, and at that point he was by far the greatest player, and Edmonton had the best at the time.
And are you telling me that Edmonton sold Wayne Gretzky?
Yes. Yeah.
Goodness me. They must have got a fortune for him, did they?
They did. They got like something like back in the day. The owner of the Oilers was having financial problems, I think, and LA had been on to him a few times about, would you sell us?
Yeah.
Would you sell us Gretzky? Because we played in the same arena, indoor soccer, as the LA team did.
Yeah.
So we saw them play there a couple of times pre-Gretzky. Once
Yeah.
Gretzky came there, you couldn't get a ticket to get in there.
No.
Like it showed a documentary of Gretzky, and
Yeah.
every famous actor, singer, or whatever it was in LA was in.
Wanted to be seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
You get.
yeah. So I mean, and ice hockey has a TV contract as well for millions.
He's
They
he's
play.
6. I just looked him up here. He's 63 years of age now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think he's the general manager of the Las Vegas team.
Jeepers. He played for 20 seasons, Joe. 20 seasons.
Yeah.
In the National Hockey for 4 teams.
Yeah.
Jeepers. At the time, he retired in 1999, just so people like that. And at the time of his retirement, at the age of 38 or 39, he held 61 National Hockey League records, 40 regular season records, 15 playoff records, and 6 All-Star records. Follow that, my man. Follow that,
He was a bit lucky.
He's Canadian.
Yes, he is Canadian. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, his daughter is married to Dustin Johnson, I think.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, Ontario. He was say Ontario, son. But I remember watching him. He was just the George Best of ice hockey.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
He was.
Yeah.
He didn't have to be coached at all. He had a natural ability that you can coach.
Yeah. Well, his father built an ice rink in the back of his backyard for him.
Go here.
Yeah.
Of
course, it wasn't hard in Canada to do that because Canada gets pretty darn cold, especially on the East Coast in the winter time. So, but so from a very, very early age, he had a hockey stick in his hand.
Yeah. I must go back now and look at some of his games. After talking about him there, that's Wayne Gretzky we were talking about.
Yeah, I mean, he was absolutely unbelievable to watch on the ice. He really was.
Yeah, I was watching Friday night before I went to bed. Was the what you call it? The horse racing over in Del Mar.
Oh yeah.
The
Breeders' Cup.
The Breeders' Cup races, huge, an absolute huge occasion altogether,
Yeah.
Because one of the most successful trainers in horse racing worldwide is Aidan O'Brien. Never won it. He's never won the Breeders' Cup. This year was his 18th attempt to win it. 18th attempt. And we were watching here a few of us Friday night in my house, and I was saying, I don't think he'll ever win because the Breeders' Cup is run on a dirt track.
Right.
And all the horses here in Ireland don't run. They run on tough tracks. You'd have to build a dirt track in Ballydoyle and just train a horse especially for on the dirt track here. That's what I think, I'm not a genius, but when his horses didn't do well really over there, and I don't think they.
He's the winning trainer in history at Del Mar, I think.
Yeah.
He's won. He's won more races.
Oh yeah, he's won.
I think Dwayne Lucas was the American, and he just passed him with the horse that won. Because City of Troy was his horse.
Yeah.
This year's event, right?
Yeah.
But they won his horse in the previous race.
He won.
He won, and that made him the winningest trainer in the history of the Breeders' Cup. So,
well, I was looking at they were from all over the world at the Breeders' Cup because every race is nearly $1 million plus. You know, most races, the fillies, the colts, and all. Unbelievable. Huh?
I was watching a bit of it after the football finished.
Yeah.
Came on straight after that, so I was watching. I love watching horse racing. I think.
Oh, the excitement! I think is just great.
Yeah.
Just great.
Yeah.
But it's a more you couldn't bet in the big race like in this side of the world. You have the Cheltenham Festival every year, you know, which is March, and I know people down to the years who go there for their holidays. That's their holiday every year. It's Cheltenham.
Oh yeah.
That's it, you know.
Yeah.
Well, they go for nearly the month, the week before and the week after, you know. As one fella said to me, sometimes we can't afford to stay the week after. We come stay back. We're lucky we have our return ticket for the boat. A so slow journey back, you know.
Yeah.
But it's very expensive. It's like everything in life now. It's very expensive to go to anything now, you know.
Oh yeah.
Even going to soccer matches, it is very expensive. I know what it's like in the States, you know, attending those sporting events, you know. I don't know what it is like, you know. But I'd say it's very expensive.
What the cost of a Sounders ticket is, I have not looked. I'll have to look in time for the next show because they're in the playoff portion of their season now.
Yeah. We have the tennis is winding down. Tennis year is winding down. After this week, there's only the end of year tournament for the men and women. The women are on at the moment in Saudi Arabia. They signed a contract with the WTA for a 3-year term. It was in Cancun last year, and there was an awful lot of giving out about the venue and the conditions that they had to play under. But it seems to be running all right in Saudi Arabia. They're spending an awful lot of money on sport, you know.
Yeah.
And the Hong Kong Open, Katie Boulter from England, who's the English #1, a terrific player, but she made the final in the Hong Kong Open, but she was beaten by Diana Schneider 6-1, 6-2. But she did extremely well. It was good for her. The Paris Open was held as well for the men, and Alexander Zverev beat the local French fella, Humbert, 6-2, 6-2. And Elena Rybakina, as you know, Novak Djokovic had Goran Ivanisevic as his coach for 15 or 16 years, and he left him go there, I remember, last year or the year before, and I see that Goran Ivanisevic has been hired by Elena Rybakina as her new coach, so hopefully that'll improve her. But he's a brilliant coach for the speculation that Djokovic is going to retire at the end of the year, which is nearly very soon. But I have a feeling he'll play in the Australian Open in January. That's my feeling, because with all-time Grand Slams, he's level with Margaret Court on 24. He's won the Australian Open 10 times. 10 times. So I would say, and it's on in January, so I don't know. I have a feeling if he's fine, if he's fit, that he'll play in the Australian Open to be a good way to go out, winning his 25th Grand Slam. I don't know, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, to be a pity. I mean, they'll be all gone in because Nadal and Murray and Federer have all retired, you know.
Yeah.
So all the old lads will be gone then. except in snooker where Ronnie O'Sullivan is playing in the snooker in China. They had to cancel one of the games that was on before them because there was such a crowd in China around the auditorium. Packed. They couldn't get them all in, obviously, because the auditorium isn't big. And I think the Chinese are good. They give people different tickets. They agreed like that you'll go in for half the match and then some more. So they all wanted to see Ronnie O'Sullivan playing. You know,
Wow, that is,
it's incredible. You know,
isn't it?
he won.
Yeah.
He won his 2 games, and there's men and women in the first couple of rounds, an open draw, and they play every day. There's no rest days. They play every day. It's an international super tournament over in China, so it's huge over there. So guys, so Joe and Derwynne seen the crash, but Derwynne I'm sure is okay anyway. Brentford winning 1-0 in the match against Fulham. So Joe, we've come to the end of another session. Next week, I don't know where I'll be. Will I be in Paris or Montpellier? I don't know which, but wherever I will, we'll come in. We'll tune in somewhere anyway, you know. So for Joe Waters, from Joe Waters, and from myself, Pat, and from Derwynne, we'll continue another show. And lads, it's been great. And thanks, Joe, very much for your time. And we'll see you next week. Lekun of Day.
See you next week, Pat. Take care.
Sorry.